So this weekend I climbed two munros. This is Liath Mhor and Sgurr Ruadh. And we climbed the munros from Achnashellach, and there's a train station here conveniently. Now Achnashellach is in Glen Carron. This is a long glen in the Northwest Highlands, and if we zoom out, you can see that it's about 60 minutes drive from Inverness to the west. So it's quite a long drive for me to get here, about 2 hours 45 minutes from Aberdeenshire. So we will go onto the track and we'll see how things look. So I'm now at Achnashellach, and this is the main car park. It's not much of a car park, it's just a large lay-by, but it's sufficient for about, I don't know, 7 cars. So let's go this way. So we have the railway station sign, and we turn left up here, telephone box. And then up this track we'll get to the train station, and then we go underneath the bridge. Okay, so here we have Achnashellach train station. Not much of a station. I think it's a request stop only, so you have to ask the train guard to stop at this station, otherwise the train goes straight through. At least, certainly 23 years ago when I was stopping here on the train, that was the case. No, was it 23? Yeah, 23 years ago, 1998. That was the first time I walked up this track. Not long after the train station, we get to this junction, and we take a hard left, 150 degrees to the left. We follow this track, and eventually the track turns into a good footpath, and we follow that through the forest and up onto the hills above. So eventually you get to this point here with a very clear sign telling you to turn left. I'm pretty sure that sign didn't exist 23 years ago, because I just carried on straight up that track, ended up in a dead end, and had to scale a 6 foot tall deer fence. So as you can see here, the footpath is pretty decent, and it continues in this good fashion right into the corries. So we are now above the forest, and you can see what the footpath is like up here. It's properly constructed. It's not a quagmire, it's a good ground for walking on. So this should give us a rapid ascent up to 350 meters. Okay, so this is Core Lair. So on the right we've got Liath Mhor, and we are going to be heading up this slope here. You can just about see the footpath making its way up there. And on the left here we've got Sgurr Ruadh. That's going to be our second munro. I've got no plans to climb this, but this is Fuartol, which is just over 900 meters. It's a corbett, a very fine corbett with a lovely corrie. So after bearing right about 5 minutes ago, we come to this second cairn, and here the path goes off to the right and it splits off to the left. So we take the left path and pretty much dead ahead, we have the rise up Liath Mhor. So a bit of heave-ho to get up to the ridge now. Right, so I'm now firmly established on this footpath going up to the ridge of Liath Mhor, and it's a steep path, and I wouldn't call it scrambling at all. There's plenty of let's just move this down. There's plenty of loose stone about, but it all seems to be all well bedded together, which is ideal. And the path kind of weaves in and out, finding the least steep route up. You know, a lot of the slopes around are rather steep, but this is also steep, but not quite so steep. So we'll carry on up this, and eventually we'll get to some easier ground. So after the steep section, the footpath still goes up, less steep, but still somewhat unrelenting, and this will continue for some time until the ridge becomes a lot more defined. So we get to a boundary on Liath Mhor. We have nothing but essentially much paler rock and very little grass, and it's quite a sharp boundary. So looking around, just a brief look, we'll have a more comprehensive look at the top. So we've got Fort Toll here, and I'm reckoning we're about 700 metres up, so that's 230 metres left of climbing. And then we've got Sgurr Ruadh. Okay, so here we have the first top, and then what you're left with is a nice long ridge that gradually tapers away to the actual summit of Liath Mhor. It's quite awkward, stony ground, this, so any relief in the form of grass, like what's just coming up, is very welcome. So this is the ridge I've been walking along. It's been quite a broad ridge, fairly straightforward. Just one little step down that required a little bit of hands and rock. Okay, so we're on the final bit of ridge now, and the appearance from a distance was that it was quite tapered. So we'll just go over this brow and we'll see whether it's a narrow ridge or not, because I can't remember. No, it looks perfectly fine. Sometimes appearances can be deceiving from a distance. So Liath Mhor is quite stony in places. There's also grass, and where it's stony like here, it's a bit awkward underfoot. Okay, so here's the summit cairn. It feels like the weather's about to come in, so we'll do a quick tour around. So here we go. So up ahead we've got Moel Chenjerag. I think this is Benjerag. It's Corbett. And we've got Loch Torridon. In the mist we've got Liath, and we've got Beinn, couple of core bits low down, the ridge we've just come from, Fuair Tall, and Sgurr Ruadh about to be enveloped in mist. So, time to continue. I'm going to have my lunch a bit further down where I'm not likely to be covered in mist. So I'm now a certain distance off Beinn Liath Mhor. So let's just take a look around. We'll go this way. Got quite a few slabby sections here, and 23 years ago it was lower down along these slabby sections. I witnessed a golden eagle taking off maybe 100 meters distance from me, and that was my first ever sight of such a creature in the wild, and I was very impressed by it. Now this is the start of a steeper section. Let's see what we got. Okie dokie, yes, this is definitely quite steep. Okay, but not too exposed. That said, definitely a bit of hands on rock here. Alright, let's see, can I get my foot on there? Yes. Right. So what I'll do, I won't give you a full narrative of the scramble down. I think that's enough. So I'll join you down at the bottom. Okay, so it was relatively straightforward after my last bit of video. This is what it looks like coming down. It looks fairly steep and formidable, but as expected, the footpath weaves a narrow route, and it turns out to be okay. Right, so I think now we head onwards, and I think once we get to Beinn with Sgurr Ruadh, then we will have some lunch. So this is quite a nice grandstand view of Core Lair. So we've got Beinn Liath Mhor, the ridge which I was walking on. It looks a bit more dramatic when you look at it in profile, but it's nowhere near it's nowhere near as nasty as what it actually is. Then we've got Sgurr Ruadh, and then we will be heading this way. Okay, so nearly at the Lochen at the Beinn. It's going to be a good scenic place for lunch. Quite a grand view of the cliffs of Sgurr Ruadh. So I've now had my lunch. So the way up to Sgurr Ruadh and the ridge that we're going on is simply to take this grassy section up here. That will give me access to the ridge, and the ridge rapidly becomes very rocky later on, and we'll show you that in due course. So here we are at the ridge. Now you can see on the left An Ruadh stack, in the middle we've got Molchen Jarrag, and off to the right I think that's Beinn Jarrag. So we turn left, and this is what we're up against. So it's been a faint path coming up all the way from the Beinn, so that makes progress easier, and it looks like we've got a faint path on the ridge as well, which is also good. I think there's one little rocky step almost a scramble on this ridge that I remember from a long time ago, so it'll be interesting to see how it shapes up against what I remember of it. Okay, so making my way up the ridge, and that's the summit. The scramble, as I remember it, is fairly high up on the ridge. And over here we've got Loch Carron, and then NW Stack, Mulchin Jarrag, and then we've got the ridge that I came up from. So I'm now approaching the scramble with the rock step on it, and it's from what I remember, it wasn't much of a scramble. It was literally just a step which was just a bit taller than what was comfortable. So I thought, oh, let's just film it, shall we? So far, so walking. I'll just move it down a bit so you can see what I'm about to step onto. So here we are. We'll make our way up this. Right. That was relatively straightforward. I don't know why I found it difficult 20 years ago. It's quite steep here. Alright, that wasn't too bad at all. So I'm nearly at the summit now. Not far to go. And just beneath the clouds, the Torridon Mountains have been in cloud all day. And to the south of us, the mountains are fairly clear. Right, here we are. Let's get my camera out of its harness. Right. So over here we've got Fuatol. It's the Corbett I mentioned. So in the background you've got the hills at the western end of Loch Mona, and that's a very remote place. You could be walking 2, maybe 3 or 4 days if you choose, right into the depths of one of the places I reckon to be a good contender for the last wilderness of Scotland. So Liath Carron here, Sgurr Ruadh stack, Mold Chen Jarag, Beinn Jarag. Not much to see on this side. The mountain of Liath would have been a spectacular viewpoint today, but yeah, the cloud's too bad. But Liath Mhor is just about shy of the cloud. And then let's just zoom out. We've got some quite impressive cliffs on Sgurr Ruadh stack. But now we head in the general direction of footpath, and we're now on our way back down to the car. So I'm about a third of the way down from Sgurr Ruadh towards the Beinn with Sgurr Ruadh stack, not Sgurr Ruadh stack, footpath. So as you can see, not much of a footpath to follow. However, once we get to the Beinn, there's a very nicely engineered footpath to follow, and I'll be looking forward to the descent from that point onwards. So that's me back at a good footpath now beneath the summit slopes of footpath. It's been a pretty rough walk down from the summit of Sgurr Ruadh, and it's now covered in cloud. So I think this walk has been very well timed. It's the last time I've been up here was in the year 2009, and it was in New Year 2008 to 2009, and it was temperatures of about -10, and there was no snow at all, but everything was covered in a really hard frost, and it's always been a very special place. These munros, they look out to even more spectacular mountains, and they're very quiet. I've walked past about two people today, and that's it. So yeah, come here if you want peace and quiet. I know even though it's on the North Coast 500 route, it's still a quiet place to be. So here we have the footpath Corrie. I'm sure that's not its proper name, but you can appreciate the grandeur of this place. It's really something else. So down into Core Lair, one of the things to note is that the stream crossing is not protected with a bridge, and given that rain could well be in the forecast, this river will get the stream will get very high. So it's worth bearing that in mind when it comes to planning this. This is the footpath coming off footpath Corrie. So we're nearly back on the main footpath, and we will then make our way back down to the road. Right, so I am probably about halfway down to Achnashellach now. Okay, back in the forest, so that basically means maybe about 10 to 15 minutes more time and the sun has come out. Okie dokie, so we are now back at the Achnashellach train station. You know, we're nearly back at the car. So back at the road. And back at my car, which is a different car this time. It's a courtesy car. So that took me 8 hours 15 minutes, and The drive out here took 2 hours 45 minutes, so 8 hours 15 minutes versus just over 5.5 hours of driving there and back. In my opinion, that's a good walk. It's worthwhile doing. The one thing I will say is that I'm now completely knackered and I think it's time for fish and chips. However, I need to drive about 2 hours to Keith to get my fish and chips, and I'm also very dehydrated, so it's time for a bit of replenishment. So thanks for watching this video, and thanks for accompanying me on the walk.